Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first time a CRL takes to Saudi Arabia in the lovely street circuit of Jeddah. A very new circuit to the F1 calendar and an extremely new one to ours. It hosts round 9 of CRL Tier 1 Season 6. I'm your regular host, CRL Freefall, joined by the one, the only, FNL Jamie 93, Jamie Indigo, Jamie Morris, a man of many names and many talents. How are you doing tonight, mate?
Good, thank you. After a dramatic race in Spain, I'm about to see another one here in Saudi Arabia, the streets of Jeddah, which is 6 kilometers long and I believe got 27 turns, the longest on the calendar, but it might not seem like it because of the high-speed corners. So the majority of it is flat out, except obviously turn one and turn two. But I expect to see a lot of people making mistakes because the walls come at you very quick and thick and fast. So you got to be very careful and adapt to those situations. But Q1, Q2, and Q3 then in qualifying, 18 minutes. You see the top 15 go through, the bottom five get knocked out. Q2, the top 10 go through, and the other five get knocked out. But the choice of new tyres, of course, but inside the top 10, you start the tyres, you set your fastest lap on, and in Q3, the top 10 shootout, which we saw to be a fantastic order back in Spain, a completely different circuit layout than other street circuits like Monaco and etc. The Baku as well. So I can't wait to see what the streets of Jeddah has for us tonight.
Absolutely. It's normally, you say street circuit, you normally think Monaco, Baku, Singapore, tight, twisty sections, low speed corners, high downforce. But here, it's a little bit of a different game. We're on board with Rudy here. He's going to give you a little run of what the Sector 1 shows you. Very twisty, but nonetheless high speed. You need to sort of balance out the downforce to get the car in the corners, but also keep the speed to get a competitive lap time in. A lot of places for these guys here to either slightly cut the corners, tap the walls in entry and exit, or indeed run wide and invalidate, maybe pick up time penalties in the race. A big sort of change up from what we're expected from maybe the normal grid tonight. Who knows? We'll find out though after the next 45 minutes or so of qualifying, and then of course 45 minutes, 25 laps of the race. But you hit it on the head there, Jamie. Long circuit, not many tracks, and not many laps, sorry, but quick laps as well, even for the size of the circuit.
Yeah, this is the longest circuit on the calendar. It's supposed to say 6 kilometers long, but Belgium is one of the longest as well. But obviously, it's got slow speed corners, and this one mostly flat out. But we're gonna go on board with the driver. Then, who you on board with, Scott?
I'm on board with it was T-Griff, not Rudy. Sorry, he's going to
Yeah,
be the first one
I
to
was confused there.
set a lap. At least I got the car right, just the wrong driver. But going to go on board with T-Griff there for the first ever lap on CRL Tier 1 for Jeddah. Going to be
Turn one, take the
tricky,
apex. Turn
tricky
two.
with us keeping up the corner numbers by the looks of things.
Yeah, it will be. This is turn 3 that we've just gone past. Now we're heading into turn 4. Break the 50 bar, use that curve, but you got a little bit wide, but gets away with it, of course, due to the track limits not being as strict as they were when the game first came out. The Sector 1 could be absolutely committed, carried a lot of speed down to 6th gear to get the extra rotation, riding those curves through there. Gets a nice exit as well. He's on the medium compound tyres, of course, so he won't be as quick as the soft ones will be, but coming down to this banking left-hander then, you get as close to the curb as you possibly can. Make sure you be patient with the throttle because it's so easy to lose the car there. And now these fast corners. Next one is the right-hander, of course, breaking the 50-meter mark, hook that inside line, which he doesn't do, so he compromises his next entry. Be careful not to hit that outside wall there, but you want to use all the track to gain the most time. Now it's just flat out, and this is the DRS detection point, so it's very crucial for these drivers to stick with that DRS range. Now flicking it into the left-hander. You see they're carrying a lot of speed. Now into this right-hander we go. Use that curve for a little bit of rotation. DRS open. This is the third DRS zone then. We might see a few overtakes down the inside of here, or drivers might wait for the straight. Now we're heading into the final corner then. Braking just before the 50-meter mark, getting rotated in, hit that inside curve there. And now get the car rotated in a straight line. DRS enabled there, and we'll see our first banker, which is going to be a 29.2. But obviously on the medium compound tyres, and obviously Q1 as well, but the track's not fully evolved, as Taze Leroy instantly smashes that time with a 28.6 then, a clear 8 tenths ahead of Griff, but we're just awaiting more cars to cross the line then. Most of them on some of them are mediums, and some of them are in the soft compound tyres as well. And also, being a short circuit as well, it can be very easy for cars to get in the way, especially in that first sector. You want to be fully out of the way, so I think you want to be off the track, not even like offside in the first set, offline in the first sector, because it can put you off dramatically as well. Leroy's just gone for a second attempt, and he's just evaluated on the exit of turn number 11. So yeah, expect to see a few validations around this track.
Definitely, like you're saying there, really having to work to get out of the way of maybe other cars on their laps. It's such a tight one-line circuit in a lot of ways. Overtaking is going to be a premium here. Going to have to make the most of strategy and DRS, the drivers here tonight. A lot of them though out in the mediums. Only 2, 4, 6, 7 cars opting for the softs as Rudy gets a 27.8 on the mediums, 1.4 seconds faster than his teammate Jaime following up. He's going to be putting in a 28.5. We're on board with rotation here on the run up to the line for his first lap. 28.7 for the McLaren driver. Liam Carrig jumped into the pits. He was going to be first of our soft lap setters. Not quite going to be. What about Steiny? He's on a soft lap, it seems, but he is invalidated as well, so even not finding a good, clean, grippy line on those softer tyres. Specs to me, though, even the big guns, you know, Mark, Jeroen, he's in softs in the pit, P's in softs in the pit. Wouter on an outlap in softs. A few of the guys open here to get rid of the mediums in Q1. I expect maybe a mix up in Q2 then, if some of the guys like Jeroen and P's opt to try those mediums in Q2. Of course, some of the people you would expect to be a little bit behind them in qualifying may just indeed sneak through on the soft tyre with that delta. Interesting to wait and see for that. We're on board with Mark anyway, taking us a nice little run in third person camera essentially through this circuit. Now, believe it or not, that was just turn 25 he went for, and here we go. This is turn 26, that little bend there before we get to turn 27 to finish off the lap. Take as much time as you can, trying to avoid that wall and exit. You really, a bit like the wall of champions at Canada almost, try and get as close to you can without doing yourself any damage, and he crosses for a 28.7 flat P6 at the moment. Of course, the top 15 all making it through from this session. 16th to 20th, well, that will be their grid order for the Grand Prix. Outlook for the Grand Prix, it is Saudi Arabia. Now, we're not one for stereotypes here, but it is in the Middle East in a very dry area of Earth, so don't expect much rain, but it is not out of the occasion as Nathan crosses the line with a 28 to 4 tenths of that medium time of Rudy Bumpier. He actually slower on the softs than Rudy on the medium. An interesting one. Wouter's out on a lap on a set of softs. Jamie, I take it you here, or do you take a little break from us? Silence is the answer there, folks. You'll have to deal with my dulcet Scottish tones for the meantime. We're on board with Steiny though, on a set of softs. That big shout out to Steiny. He's currently in the works of moving for his work, so I believe this will be his last full-time Grand Prix with us for a short period of time, as he will have the missed time getting that move underway. So hopefully he can get a good finish to this season pack in Tier 1. A 28.0, good time for this Q1. A little bit off Rudy in the medium lap, but maybe Rudy, one to show his pace. He's been doing very well this season so far. Maybe just showing down his pace that he has got at the moment for this weekend here. Trying to see who is next in the lap. It is a Red Bull, I believe. Is that Pyro? It is not. It is Liam Carrig. He's on an outlap, so I believe the next to cross the line will indeed be Wouter in the sister Haas to Steiny's. Sector 1 yellow flags. I believe that is just a car letting through the so tight there. I expect to see some wings flying, particularly the end plates. They could be the tricky points to scupper some weekends. As Wouter showing us the pace here. A 27.3 on the softs. 5 tenths clear of Rudy, 5 tenths clear of Bumpier, and 7 tenths clear of Steiny. Wouter though, returning champion last season, season 5's Tier 1 Drivers Champion. One to watch out for. Not doing too great in the standings, however, this season. A little bit of a tumultuous start, you could almost say. Last time out, of course, we were in Spain, and speaking of Rudy, he got the victory with a clean drive for Ferrari. Mark picking up yet again another P2, another one for the list. Will he get that P1 this season? Time will tell with us. And Ferg making his return to the podium, of course, our season 3 and 4 champion, I believe that's correct, getting 28 points and a third place for the Alpine. Pyro and Jeroen rounding off the top 5. Drivers' Championship then, well, that has changed things up ever so slightly. Jeroen, 237 points, 61 points clear of P's. Valor a further 12 points behind, with Rudy another 23, with Andreas in P5 and in the Alpine in P5, sorry, another 29 points further behind. Jeroen really getting to grips with this championship as we head into the mid-season break. P's, Valter, Rudy, the battle for P2. Constructors, of course, Aston Martin clinging in very, very ever so slightly. Strong performances in Tier 2 and Tier 3 keeping them up there. Ferrari though, a 1-2 in Tier 4 and a victory for Rudy saw them elevate up to P2. Alpine on the back of strong performances from the likes of Ferg, from the likes of Andreas in P3, with Red Bull and Williams rounding off your top 5. Of course, the race here tonight, top 5 points available, 40 points for the win, 33 for second, 28 for third and 23 for fourth. That's what's all to play for here tonight. But back to the qualifying action. We've not got long left in this session here. Can't quite see because of the sector 1 yellow flags, but 7 minutes left to go. Ferg on a lap has invalidated. Seb though, we jump to him. Q2 is purple.
Oh, missed the apex there, and he's gone wide. Never let it do it.
Glad to have you back, Jamie. I was getting a little bit dry there.
So yeah, I had internet. Well, I didn't have actually internet; just disconnected me for some reason. But yeah, talk about Rudy. He had a really difficult start to the season. Now that win in Spain, he was really clean, really consistent. Chose the right strategy as well because they had 2 safety cars, and he went on to take the victory. He was trading DRS with Pyro, but Pyro won the race, but he also picked up penalties that went Rudy was able to win the race with no penalties. So yeah, he did a fantastic job last week. So hopefully we could see the same for Rudy, because he said last week that this is his confidence booster. He really wants to show what he could do, because we all know he's got the pace, but he's just been at times where he's just been really lucky, such as in France as well, where he arguably should have been in P2 but got disconnected from the session. So I really put him on the back foot because his AI went to the pit lane. So yeah, I really felt sorry for Rudy, but hopefully he can show what he has. Where's Ferg? Like you mentioned, Ferg, he also had invalidated first lap, so he's coming through the end of sector 1, takes it really nice and cleanly then, didn't see his first sector. 30.6, not quite sure where that is in comparison to the other people. But if you revisit in P3 on the medium compound tyres, looking really, really good there. They're saving mediums, they're saving softs to use in Q2 and Q3, because you can do many laps. So you can do back-to-back laps, I think, around here, because I don't think the tyre temperature's not too much around. But Ferg hits that wall. And yeah, I thought he would do, because he's supposed to use all of that curb on the left-hand side. You want your car to be in the middle of it, but his tyre was only on it, and therefore he got slammed into the wall. And I think he's lost his end plate. Yes, he has. By the way, he's turning in. So Ferg is on the back foot then, with 5 minutes and 20 seconds to the left to go then. So he has to pit and put on a brand new front wing. Where's Pease coming around that left-hander? Rudy goes quickest then. Talking to the man, he went from mediums to softs, and people like I think people on the mediums downwards, like 10th downwards, might have to go on the soft compound tyres, because they might not be safe, so they can watch out for that as well, especially Pyro, Andreas, Rotation, Taze, Leroy, probably Jaime and Liam as well, so they all have to go on the soft compound tyres to ensure the safety, because we've still got Ferg, Marty, Seb and Pease left to go on a flying lap. Pease making his way around the left-hander, now coming to the fast right-hander, lovely entry and exit there, carried a lot of speed, which he's supposed to do around this Jeddah track, and now they're making his way all the way down the straight. Let's see how he takes his braking point. Every braking zone around here, 50 before the 50 meters, into second gear, takes to rotation, get back on the throttle as soon as you straighten up the car. Don't hit that outside wall, which he did do. And let's see what lap time he produces then in that Mercedes. It's going to be a 27.1. It puts himself on top of the leaderboard, so he should definitely be safe. And people like Andreas and Pyro, they're knocked out, or on the verge of getting knocked out, so they should definitely be out there. As you can see, Taze Leroy's on the soft compound tyres. I think he made a little error, because I was off board. And when I went on board, he made a little mistake. So yeah, a bit of compromise first sector, but nonetheless, he's got 4 minutes to amend that. So Yeah, well, a lot of drivers struggling so far, but that's expected around this Jeddah track. It's all about practice as well, like knowing where you could throw the car in, knowing where to brake, carry the speed and hit the apex very nicely as well. Yeah, it's all about practice here.
Absolutely. Speaking of that, Pyro's made a mistake on his next flying lap, invalidating at the end of Sector 1. A lot of the drivers are, like you're saying, needing to go out on the softs. Well, the majority of them had. You had Rudy doing that. You had Mark, he found himself down in P14 after his medium run. Put a set of softs, jumping up to P4. Should see him through. AJ Wuhan, Nathan GB, Jaime coming out of the pits, he's on his out lap. Liam Carrick, funnily enough, still in the pits on the softs. But then everybody from 14th down all out on track. So a lot still to play for here for all of these guys. Currently, almost you would say from 10th down.
Yes, indeed. 3 minutes left to go. So Ferg's back out there, Marty's back out there, and Seaworld Gamer, who's sadly in last place, had a good qualifying last week in Spain and had problems in the race. It looks like he's evaluated yet again. So Seaworld Gamer is definitely having track issues here, track limit issues around here. So really needs to sort that out really quickly because he could find himself knocked out of Q1, which is quite an unusual sight for Seaworld Gamer because he's a main contender to get himself Q3. So his teammate rotation has just gone over to P3. That's replaced by Nathan instantly, as he does a 27.2. Not much separated between third and fourth, but a few 400s separated between Nathan and rotation. But Seaworld Gamer then going for another flying lap. Let's see how it takes turn number 1. I want to know where his issue is. So he didn't take a lot of curb in turn 1, did in turn 2, so lost a little bit of time in turn 1. Turn 3 is really nothing. And now turn 4 here really leads up to the rest of your sector 1. Make or break your sector 1, so he has to find the right rhythm, find the right line and momentum here as well, carrying a lot of speed, lifting off slightly through there. And let's see then, downshifts into 5th gear, rides the curb on this one, in fact he misses it, but rides on the outside. And his first sector is going to be a 30.6, that's what Ferg did in the first sector, but we can't really compare it because he hasn't set a lap time either, but he's on a flying lap himself, so let's see how he does it. This is Siev's last flying lap, because on the bottom right is his fuel dash popping up as red, so yeah, he's run out of fuel sadly for Sieve, and he can't go for another flying lap, so this is all or nothing for Seaworld Gamer. He has to get a lap time on the board. Let's see these fast few corners here as Jaime pops himself into P5. There's a lot of cars in that first sector as well, bunched up together. In this fast left-hander, hesitant through there, and thankfully he does not invalidate through there. So his teammate is going to give him a lovely slipstream. Good teamwork from both McLarens. Rotation knowing that Sieve is struggling and needs the extra support, which is given him. And now they're making his way down into the final corner. Needs to get it absolutely spot on. Can be a bit difficult as well, going offline just a bit. And gets a really good exit there. Straightens up the car immediately. And let's see what lap time he produces in that McLaren. It's going to be a 27.7. So safe for the moment, but we've still got people on the flying lap. Ferg next across the line. He goes P1 at 27.1. So he's definitely got himself sorted out. And Steiny, Andreas, and AJ in the drop zone. Andreas in the pit lane. So he is definitely knocked out. AJ is on an improvement by 6/10 in the middle sector, so I think he will find himself in Q2 as he makes his way across the line. Yep, in P6, so he's definitely safe. Robbie has been pushed down into the relegation zone. He himself is on a lap, improved by 6/10 in the first sector. Needs to get this absolute spot on. Got close to the wall. He hit the wall just like Ferg did, I think, on his previous lap. So Robbie then might have front wing damage, and if he does have front wing damage, it'll cost him all the way down the straight. And this left-hander where you need it the most, you have to flick it in, carry the most speed, which he doesn't really do. Could find a bit more speed than that, but he has end plate damage, I believe, which he does do. So he'll be on the back foot there, but then making his way down into the final corner then. Needs a really good final exit if he wants to get himself into Q2. You can see really struggling to rotate that car. He has to use more steering than he would have wanted initially with the lack of downforce. DRS enabled then. Can Robbie get himself inside Q2? Oh, yes, he can. With
well,
a 20. Yeah, yeah, he can. And Seaworld Gamer has sadly been knocked out. So is Steiny, but Steiny has validated it. Marty has validated it. And Liam Karak is last, sadly for the Red Bull driver.
That just last 6/10 off the pace. Not quite finding the rhythm the same as the rest of them. But with them 4 drivers having invalidated, that is Q1 over. Quite a dramatic end to Q1 there. Look at the amount of cars we have in track. It's a bit more than the usual, shall we say. Normally about 5 or 6 of them battling out for the last few positions, the rest of them feeling pretty comfortable. I believe he had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 cars near enough out in track at one point. in the last few minutes of Q1. Very, very unusual. But is Robbie putting that Aston Martin back on top? Speaking of the devil. Not quite putting it back on top, because Jeroen has just turned around and showed him how it is done. Is there anybody else on a lap? Boompier is not on a lap. And AJ Wuhan is not on a lap. So that will be Q1 completed. This, in fact, Jeroen going to take the top time. 500's clear of Robbie. Not much in it. And then 600's further back to Ferg. He's only 12 thousandths ahead of Pease. Who's only 300's ahead of Wouter. Who's only 200's ahead of Rudy. Then we're not even going to go into the gaps between P5 and P14. It's tight grid here. Q2 is going to be interesting. T-Griff sneaking through ever so slightly, just by 16 thousandths over Seb. He's a little bit back from P14 and Mark, but of course Q2 is a new session, a new timing sheet, a new opportunity for everybody to put their best lap times in. But just to recount that, Liam Carrick starting P20, his best lap time on the mediums, so says to me he couldn't get a fresh soft time in there, Jamie. Marty Andreas yet again finds himself down, out of position. I think that happened, was it in Spain, Jamie, am I right in saying? Andreas found himself down out in Q1. Yeah. Seb, another shock there. And Steiny almost making it through into Q2. Not had the best qualifying performances. Had some good race performances scuppered in the last few laps, particularly at Silverstone. But plenty of action still to come in this Grand Prix. But after that, Jamie, what are you expecting from Q2? A lot of drivers are using the mediums and a set of softs already.
I think it's just going to be the soft compound tyres. Yeah, the track wear around here, the tyre wear is around here is not that high, but especially a street circuit like this, so you can get away by doing a few laps on the soft compound tyres. So yeah, expect it to be soft to medium or medium to soft. I don't expect the hard compound tyres to be used. But yeah, let's see if anybody does attempt to get inside the top 10 on the mediums. Big shocker there for me. Same for you, it'd probably be C4 Gamer Andreas, but Andreas defined himself, climbed up the order last week's race, and where it was another one that was knocked out that surprised me as well. Who was it? It was a P16, wasn't it? And yeah, memory not going well there.
Seb in P16, Andreas, and Liam Carrick, he's had good qualifying pace at times. Just speaking on the strategy there, our lovely graphics man, AJ Wuhan, has provided us with an expected strategy on the track thing. Expected lap strategy, pit strategy, sorry. Softs starting onto mediums, lap 8 to 10. Mediums onto softs, lap 15 to 17. So effectively 9 laps for the softs, 16 for the mediums is the rough estimate we're going for here tonight. A bit of learning curve for some of the drivers, and for me indeed. I have never driven more than 5 laps around this circuit, Jamie, so definitely not the track expert tonight.
I won around this track on Monday, so yeah, I definitely know what the track feels like and definitely know what to expect from it as well, because this chance of a safety car is incredibly high around here, because it's just so easy to lose it anywhere on the track. It's just so easy to hit a wall because you have to go very quick through a fast corner, and obviously the wall's right there, so yeah, you gotta be very careful not to hit that. A chance for a VSC safety car is incredibly high around here, so watch out for that as well. That could change people's strategies, especially the medium runners. Like if they go for a long stint and the safety car comes at the right time for them, could benefit them. Same with the softs as well. But I think we're going to see the same situation what we saw in Portugal, Spain, Italy, everywhere. Like when people pit, they're going to be right behind old starters, old medium starters or soft starters, depending if they want to start the softs outside the top 10. So be really careful not to intervene with them, because what we saw last week with Team Robbie and Marty just getting into contact, and that's what cost Robbie the race, because he was leading the race early doors, but sadly for him, he got caught up in some accidents within the midfield. So that's what you got to be careful about. And I believe we've got a few people going on the lap. We've got Robbie then making starting a lap time on the medium compound tyres then, so he's decided to go on the mediums, not the softs, but majority are on the softs because they did use the mediums in Q1. And let's see them breaking into turn 1 there, using a lot of curve, riding turn 2 as well, going wide at turn 3. Bit of oversteer there. You can see the car hesitated just a little bit as he gets on the throttle. Turn number 4, at the 50-meter board, flick it in. You can see the rear just stepping out a little bit as he applies the throttle. You want to carry the momentum all the way around here in sector 1. You just flat out in every single corner. Lift off there slightly, so people like to downshift the extra rotation. Now DRS enabled there for the short straight as we head into turn number 13, I believe. Yeah, turn number 13. Keep off that inside curve because it can really unbalance the car. You can see the twitching on the exit as he applies the throttle. Yet again, these mediums might not be up to temperature because they're not really a qualified tyre compared to the softs. Hesitant on the steering there, as you can see, maybe more than one adjustment. Hit the wall last time in Q1, but gets away with it. And I think somebody behind him has just had a little bit of an incident. I think that was Tigriff.
Tigriff, yeah, Tigriff in the Ferrari, haven't I? A bit of a strange place for it, isn't it?
Oh, Robbie's just hit the wall. He hesitated once going in there, and he invalidated it. So I think he might go back in the pit lane because he realised that the medium compound tyres for him is not a good tyre. Maybe he didn't warm them up properly, or they're just not in good shape for one lap. So yeah, he'll dive back in the pit lane, and I dare say he'll put a set of softs on. I think next to cross the line or start a lap or finish a lap is an AlphaTauri, which is AJ Wuhan.
On the mediums as well, one of only 3 runners here. Be interesting to see just a little bit of loosey-goosey back end there on the final corner. He is going to run up to the line, and it is going to be a 28.5. A little bit off the pace of what we've seen some of the medium times in Q1, so expect that to be working. Tigriff having that spin, not putting in a competitive time, but an interesting thing you were saying there, Jamie, we've seen it in Spain, like you're saying, the soft runners pitting, getting caught up with the late medium runners. We've seen it in Portugal. I think if we're going to see it in any track, it's going to be this one. It's so difficult to overtake. The different tyres having different grips around, especially the first sector, the fast bit. We could see drivers getting a better exit, some getting a poor exit, going side by side through corners. You're not really meant to go side by side here, so it could be a very interesting race for us here tonight, mate. And I think Bert Mailander will make an appearance, or 5. Just being honest, it has got a lot of potential, like you're saying. Street circuits, as always, we're on board with It's Pyro. In the Red Bull, of course, the merry-go-round that has been the Red Bull drivers this season. Our first original 2 drivers having to drop out and being replaced by some newcomers in the form of Pyro and Liam Carragh. But Pyro having a good season so far since he stepped in that seat and goes top of a 27.087. Almost creeping into those 26s. Expect, from what I've heard, the Q3 pole time to be a mid-26.
Well, it's Q2 and they've already beat my pole position time in short qualifying, so yeah, these times coming in quick, and I believe a 27.0 was the quickest in Q1 as well, so Pi was getting near at that, and dare say could potentially be safe, but still got plenty of time left. The track evolution will kick in as well. The track gets quicker, it'll get darker as well, so the temperature will go down as well to help the soft compound tyres. Oh, Giant there, a bit hesitant there as he had to make a few corrections on the steering heading to those fast few corners there, and now make his way to the flat out section before he reaches the 3rd DRS zone, which is going to be turn number 22. The next one is flicking it in very nicely through there. They can really get away because that would have been a validation a few months ago, and a few people went in Q1 as well, so they're really sorting out the track limits around here. You can abuse it a little bit, but obviously you can't get away with too much. And now making his way through that final corner, let's see what Jam could do. Looks like a decent lap other than a little moment through sector 2. You see there, bit of a back end stepping out just a little bit as he applied the throttle, making his way towards the line, and it's going to be a 27.4 for the Dutchman in P2. Then we've got a few more across the line just behind him, and Taze Leroy goes quickest with a 27.0. He did invalidate on his first lap, but rectified it in his second lap, so he puts it on provisional pole, and he is currently safe for the moment, but just waiting for more people to cross the line to start their laps. I think Ferg's one of them, who's about, that's the Williams, sorry, getting a bit confused between the Williams and Alpine colours there. Both blue, but different shades of blue.
Absolutely not much between the 2 colours, and not much between our top 3. Nathan, we just caught the end of his lap there, 27.031. Currently 500s, half a tenth separating our top 3 at the moment, but plenty of lap times to come in. Rudy on a lap but invalidated. Jeroen on a lap, he's going through sector 1. Let's see what kind of time he's got. It is going to be a 30.1, so looking not too bad there at all. Purple sector 1 according to this, of course. We know not to trust Codemasters 100% with that. Coming around the big spoon curve, as I like to call it. Basically, Saudi Arabia's answer to what if Suzuka landed in the Middle East. Running through the fast pace now, down towards the final DRS. All of these technically counting as corners, of course, although the drivers never letting off the throttle until you get to a braking zone like this. Quick shift down the gears, using that track limit just right on the edge there. They must be, and no more. Final 3 corners here. corner 25, this bend here with the curb on the left hand side. Oh, that's 26, sorry. Now that's similar, I can't even tell them apart. Into 27 though, the final corner. Keeps the back end nice and steady. We've seen a few drivers stepping out and almost losing it. Going to cross the line here. Q1 pole sitter goes for Q2 pole sitter for 26.7. Is maybe a mid 26 too high? Are we going to see a low 26, 22, 26.2, 26.3?
What a lap there for Giroud. Possibly 26.5, it's still Q2. But I can't wait to see what he does, because that was a fantastic lap. Got it absolutely hooked up, hitting every single corner, flicking the car in when he needed to be. No hesitation there, no wheel spin on the exit. So that was a fantastic lap time from Giroud. If you could repeat that at Q3, he's definitely a course of pole position, of course. Wheel track favourite this track is, so few pad users. But saying that though, Pyro, Taze, Leroy are pad users and they find it quite well. I'm a pad user as well. I don't find it too difficult that first sector, but we've got Ferg, who's also a pad user, coming towards the line, and let's see what lap time he does. It's going to be a 27.0, and look at that. There's 4 drivers that set 27.0, so it's ever so close as always here in COL. Despite 27 corners, barely anything separates. So, but Walter, P2 in the championship, has gone into P2 with a 26.8. I believe he's P3 behind P's, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
P's.
But he's P. We've basically got the top 3 in the championship with 2 and 3 mixed around here. P's followed him up to the line. Could only manage a 26.9. Not much separating them in the championship or on the track here. Who was that crossed the line? That was the Ferrari of Rudy, I believe, also getting into the 26.9s. Board with Robbie though, he's coming through the first sector, yet to set a lap time. Him and rotation T-Griff as well. Of course, that 1:40, not really a competitive time. In fact, we're going to jump across to him. He's going to run up to the line here and can only manage a 28.0, so 1.3 off the pole time at the moment. Of course, 11th to 15th getting eliminated here. He needs to find 6 attempts to break into that top 10. Though we do know he has got a bit of pace. AJ Wuhan crossing the line to go 27.1 up to P9, I believe that was. But back on board with Robbie as he starts to come through the tail end of the second sector here. Fast corners that again aren't really corners, although he's lifting off, must be abandoning this lap by the looks of things. Seems to be.
Yeah. I don't know. It looks like he made a mistake through the first sector, because he says he's not on an out lap and he's on was on a fly lap, but must have made an error somewhere. Didn't invalidate it, of course, but just missed a corner somewhere, which is quite obvious to do. But it looks like he's warming up tyres, go for his second lap. Oh, interesting rotation as well in the McLaren. He's had a few poor results. He's still getting used to the wheel, I believe. He's making his way through the first sector, but went a little bit off wide, so lost a bit of momentum and rhythm through there. But I thought he validated through there, but he managed to get away with it. But his first sector is going to be a 30.1. That's a good first sector from rotation. Walter retired already safe, but down the left hill banking hen. Ferg retires as well. P5. As rotation then does hit the wall, and does he get away with any full wind damage? I wonder, as he makes his way towards the right hand. We'll find out if he's lost any downforce, but yeah, it looks like gonna hit the wall again.
Yeah,
and rotation
on that McLaren.
He's not really enjoying this track, his rotation. I thought it'd be one to watch out for, because he was on the top 10 in Q1, and I really would like to see him up there, my fellow FOL driver. But yeah, it looks like he's struggled in it so far. He was one of the quickest I've seen a few months ago, and it's taken some time for him to get back up to the pace. Like, I know transition from wheel or pad to wheel or wheel to pad is really not a quick thing to adapt to very easily or quickly, but
you're telling
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I know that from experience, mate. I know that from experience. I must say, you touched on it earlier, the wheel to pad on this track. Tier 2 pace last season, I could not set a valid lap round this track. I just could not find a rhythm. I'm about mid tier 4 pace now, and it's so much easier on the wheel. But Robbie, I think you said there, has invalidated. So time for the guys to get into the pit and get back out. A few on their out lap. But we're getting to that quiet time again, Jamie.
Yep, indeed. Robbie then has to use another set of soft compound tyres, because he didn't want to start on the 2 lap old used set of softs. So yeah, he's on the back foot there. I might have to sacrifice one in Q3. And Hebompier is also on the out lap. He knows he's not safe down there. He's currently going for a flying lap, is Hebompier, so let's go on board with the tree as he makes his way down into turn 1, rides the apex, and turn 2, rides the curb as well. Using all the track, but make sure you don't hit the wall, the exit at turn 3. Now coming into turn number 4, and this is where the fun begins, a roller coaster ride through the first sector. Yeah, curve corners coming at you thick and fast, got to adapt to very quickly. From left to right, downshift to 6 to get the extra rotation, using the inside curb, right on the outside curb as well. First sector a 30.5, so I'm not quite sure if that's enough. We'll find out as he makes his way downhill. Then as rotation has picked up a 5-second tyre penalty for a collision with Jime. And Jime has spun as well, so I wonder, did they both make contact? Rotation is on an outlap. Did Jime hit the back of rotation when he came out of the pit lane? That is down at turn number 2. So he must have came out the pit lane rotation and he didn't see Jime on the flying lap. But it's not the first time Jime has suffered in qualifying, because he did crash out last time in Spain. And head bumpy is 9 tenths down, so he's backed out of this lap and something must have gone wrong for him. So yeah, a bit of drama already, as Jime won't be happy with that one, because he really wants a good qualifying after crashing out in Spain at turn number 9, where it's a difficult corner. But yeah, rotation and Jime then getting into contact, and I wonder if it was a case of rotation coming out the pit lane and just warming up his tyres and didn't see Jime coming, and Jime just smacked into the back of him in turn 2. We also saw a big crash at turn 2 as well between Perez, Leclerc, but also Mazepin, Russell, and a few others as well. So yeah, it could be difficult corner, that one, because it leads straight onto the track at the exit of turn 2.
Just to jump in, Jamie, Taze Leroy currently front wingless, so that'll be qualifying over for him. Currently in P7, relying on the drivers behind not to improve. Nobody really on a quick lap at the moment. I've been scouring about trying to find somebody that's actually on a lap, and most of them are on outlaps or on slow down laps there. But AJ will be the first. It will be AJ, then Boompier, then it's Pyro, so we'll ride on board with AJ. Half a tenth up through Sector 1. Nearly enough to get him up 1 position. But I'm sure he's got more time in his locker through this second part of the track. Running through the first part of the second sector, this tight right-hander into the left. Keeping out of the wall, we've seen so many cars already run into there just in qualifying. As the session does officially end, Taze Leroy cannot improve in his time. Jime is out, he is in the pits. Best for him is P11 as AJ comes through the final sector now, getting that DRS nice and wide open on the rear of that AlphaTauri through the final few corners. The run down to the infamous turn 27. Can he keep the rear end nice and tidy this time? We've seen him in Q1 getting a little bit loose on the rear. He does keep it nice, tight and tidy together up to the line. It's going to be a 1:26.9 P5 for AJ.
Along with his brother, so both of them making it to Q3. Pyro then, and Head Bompier has crossed the line to go P10 only. So if Mark improves, which he is improving on his final lap by a tenth, Pyro has not improved in the middle sector. It looks like he's backed off as well. So Mark, Tigriff, and Robbie yet to go. Robbie on a lap. Tigriff comes towards the line. It's not enough because he invalidated it. But I think Mark's the next one. No, it's actually Robbie's the next one to cross the line. He is 9.6 seconds up, but we don't know if he's going to make himself into Q3. So as he makes his way towards that final corner, can he get himself set up? Can he get into Q3? We know he set pole position last week, and he does by going to P2. And where's Mark then? He is about to cross the line. And no, he's not. He's backed out, and he won't make it through, sadly for him.
10th down in his time at the end of Sector 2 by the looks of things, and just Sector 3 very hard to make up time because it is really just a straight with a couple of bends and one proper turn. Although you can make up slight time by getting your DRS time in 100% on, but these drivers at this level really aren't going to be making silly little mistakes like that. But Jeroen makes it 2 out of 2 for the shootout for pole. Can he do it again in Q3? We'll find out very shortly. Robbie getting back up there, a 10th off the Dutchman though, but it's still P2 for the Aston Martin driver. Another solid show. And Valter, Nathan and Pease expected up in the top 5, although Valter and Pease on the pad doing very, very strongly to be up mixing with the likes of Nathan and not too far off Jeroen. Rudy, not Robbie. AJ, Ferg, Leroy and Pyro, your rest of your Q3 shooter with Boompier. Mark, last week's P2 out in P12. Jime getting that collision, and then Tigriff and rotation, the second part of that collision, all being knocked out. Of course, 5-place Gridfinity for rotation, starting in P15. That'll see him dropped to the rear of the grid. All his efforts in Q1 snuffed out in one single action.
It's a massive shame. I think rotation just not paying attention, and Jime coming through very quickly got caught out by that. But Yeah, Q3 then, the top 10 shootout. It was crazy back in Spain, but will it be a crazy one yet again? Can Robbie take pole position for the second consecutive week going, or can it be anybody else? I know Ferg's on good form at the moment. I know he did struggle a little bit in Q1, but it looks like he's sorted himself out. And Robbie as well, talk about that. He can do more than one lap on the soft compound tyre because the wear is not high as well, but he can't really do back to back because in that middle and third sector, that's where the tyre temperature will go sky high, end up understeer and oversteer and potentially breaking you for wing. But got Alpine coming out of the garage. I'm on board with him, and I think that is Ferg, which it is. So he's going to be the first man to cross the line to start a flying lap. Be very interested to see what he could do. Hasn't won a race since his winning days, I think, and he's been on the podium a few times. I remember his last one was last week, and another one was Imola as well. So yeah, he's scored a few podiums ever since he returned. But yeah, it's really nice to see him back, and can't wait to see what he could do in this Q2 session.
Absolutely great to have Ferg back for a chat in the podium with a real character of the league, I must admit. A lot of time for the guy. Nice fella as well. And a legend when it comes to the league and league racing in general. Of course, out in the Alpine this season, putting in some solid performances since his full-time return. But, of course, that grid that he won the titles on, it's a little bit different now. You've got the likes of Pease, Wouter, Jeroen has fairly came on recently as well. Mark even.
Oh, he's just hit the wall, mate. I'm sorry to, but on his outlap, he just hit the wall through turn number, I don't know which one it is. I think it's number 17. Yeah. So he had a slap. Oh, he hit the wall again, and I dare say he has to come back in the pit lane. So, oh yeah, he's definitely lost that front wing. It's not the first time I've seen somebody hit the wall on an outlaps, but yeah, he'll be out of sync then from the rest of this grid, and he'll come back in the pit lane, sadly for him. So it'll be Walter as the first man to cross the line. Our championship contenders last week didn't really have a clean race. We saw many incidents such as Walter and Jeroen coming in contact with Walter spotted the exit at turn 2 where Mark did as well, and Jeroen was there to collect the pieces, and also Pease got himself in a little bit of an incident as well. Everybody did except Rudy. Rudy was the man that just had no incidents. And look at Ferg, he's giving his fellow Relentless driver a little slipstream down the straight.
A little bit cheeky there, the Alpine giving the Haas a tow. I wonder what the other drivers will have to say about that, but nonetheless, that does mean Wouter will be the first of our drivers, if he can keep it out of the wall and out of the invalidations. He will be the first to set this Q3 banker. I don't believe he used a medium set in Q1, and I believe he got through on a single set in Q2. So of course he'll have two sets of softs and a medium, of course. If anybody has ever used a medium in Q3, I'd be very surprised. A 30.2, so we did see some faster Q1 times in the previous session. Of course, Ferg and I believe it was T-Griff hitting the 30.1s, the fastest I can remember at a glance. But plenty of time to be made up in this middle sector here, keeping it nice and clean out the wall, using as much of the track as you can. Really, it is one of those tracks, being a street circuit, that it's hard to invalidate at certain points because the track limits are the walls. If you boost track limits, you boost that wall or clean that wing clean off the wall. Through into the final sector though, DRS train. This is probably going to be our big overtaking opportunity here, Jamie. This and turn 1, the nice run down, sort of crescent shaped straight into turn 27, and then of course another DRS train. Double activation, of course. No, it's not actually. There is an activation right on the apex of that final corner, but he's going to cross the line at 27.1. Not a bad banker, but of course we've seen a lot faster lap times already.
And Pyro crossed the line to go P2. Not much between those two, Pyro and Walter, but we've got a few yellow flags down there, and looks like Pease has validated his lap time, so we have to go through it again. Nathan was down there with him, as we've got Alpha Time with AJ crossed the line with 28.3. Nathan crosses the line, go P1! It's a 27 P1 currently on provisional pole position. Good job there from Nathan, but obviously we saw people in the 26s in Q2, so I dare say that has to be improved. Jeroen Visser is about to cross the line next in that Williams then, so let's see what he could do. One of the quickest ones in Q2 with a 26.7 as he makes his way towards the line. Let's see what he does. It's a 26.5, so raises the bar even more. The Aston Martin goes into P2 with a 26.8 of Robbie. So Aston Martin looking really strong in P3 and P4 as Rudy goes into P2. Good job for Rudy, 26.7 there. Good qualifying there as he makes his way onto the front row along with Jeroen Visser then. So any more to cross the line? We've got P's going for a second flyer lap around this track. We've got Taze Levo also going for that second flyer lap as they validated their first lap. Ferg hit the wall on his whole lap, is going for his first flyer lap officially. Pease and Taze Leroy. I think Taze Leroy's further along them. In fact, he's run out of fuel as Taze Leroy, so he hasn't put enough fuel in to go for 2 laps. So he has to back out that lap and go back to pit lane starting for him. So we're just waiting for Pease as he makes his way through those fast few corners there. His middle sector, didn't really see it, but it might get a little bit of a toe with that Williams slowing down just a little bit. That Williams needs to get out of the way, which he does do. Now he makes his way towards that final corner. Let's see what Pease has as he evaluated that first lap. Down the second gear for the extra rotation, gets back in the power immediately as soon as he straightens the car up. DRS enabled then for this straight, and it's going to be a 26.4. So he's P4 behind Robbie. But obviously, he's done 2 laps on those set of tyres.
2 tenths separating Jeroen and his nearest rival. You've got to say at this moment he is firm favourite, although I expect to see those times come in. Of course, the track's going to get rubbered in. The driver's getting a bit more confident. They've got a banker on. They can really start to push the limit. Ferg, according to this, purple sector 1 and purple sector 2. Of course, we know Codemasters likes to spring that up a lot of the time when you switch camera, but we're going to see where he can put this Alpine. Of course, he's first official run, his second attempt at it, getting contact on his outlap. Not the first time we've seen it, and definitely not the last we'll see it. Of course, tier 2 already did in their qualifying, but we've got tier 3 and tier 4. Expect a lot of front wings for them. Process Lincoln only managed P8, which with a 27-1 really shows a lot of quality with this grid. P8 with a 27-1. Nothing much separating P2 all the way down to that P8, but Jeroen in a class of his own. AJ not getting the best of a banker in, and Taze Leroy yet to put a lap in due to underfueling. So getting back to that quiet period again here, Jamie. We have it every single week in Q3. You have it every single week in the proper F1, which we'll see on Saturday in Bahrain. The drivers done their first initial laps, waiting for the optimum time to get their last laps in here.
Rivers can see his rivals in P4 and in P6, so it's looking really good for Drew Vizzer to try and extend his championship lead like he did in the Spanish Grand Prix. Looks like Pease going to claw back some points, but obviously he had some errors with encountering some traffic and lost his wing. So yeah, all of our championship rivals, including Andreas down in P4 in the championship, had problems, but Andreas, sadly for him, has been knocked out. Let's see if he's got that race pace, because I know he's had race pace such back in Australia as well, where I think he also nearly got knocked out or did get knocked out in Q1. And he clawed his way back into P2, I believe. He also did the same thing as well when he got another podium. I think it was back in Portugal, Spain. I actually can't remember which one it was, but somewhere along the lines. Alpine have been looking really strong this season. I had a quick flick through when I was looking at the Tier 2 stream, and it saw that Alpine was P3 in the constructors, so they're looking really, really strong. Is the French team.
Absolutely. A lot of that has been done to the two drivers here. We've seen it a few times. These guys been very, very good with each other. We've seen it already, to be fair, in Q1, I believe, giving each other the slipstream. Completely unplanned, according to Ferg in his interview last week. I don't know how much I believe that. I'm not calling Ferg a liar, but it just seems too well choreographed. Andreas, so the gentleman that he is, probably just doing it out of the goodness of his heart. So we'd love to see that here. Big, big performances. I think it was P4 and P5 they got last week, if I remember right. No, P3 and P4. Andreas fell down the order. It was Portugal. They got P4 and P5. Sorry, that's what I'm thinking of. And then again, Ferg on the podium last week. Andreas was up there for a time, but I believe he fell off. Not the best man for this kind of stuff, Jamie. This is more your forte. You've got a memory like just a data bank. I've got a memory like a sieve.
Yeah, so Ferg got a podium in Spain, and in Portugal it was Andreas who got a podium, but Ferg finished P6. In Great Britain, Ferg finished in P6 and Andreas finished in P15. Not quite sure what happened to him, but it was Brazil where they got P4 and P5 after helping each other, not really battling each other, and staying in P4 and P5. Trading DRS as well to make sure they get ahead or stay ahead of the guys behind. That was a good racing back in Brazil. But yeah, we've got our drivers coming out of the pit lane then, and I wonder who is the first one to cross the line to start their last line. I think it's AJ, isn't it?
AJ, he's just about around the final corner.
Yep, as he makes his way around that final corner and setting himself up, getting a wider angle to get a lot of speed on the straight. And DRS enabled then as we make our way down into turn number 1, crosses the line now. Let's see then, looks for his braking board on the right hand side, picks it before the 50-meter board. Locks up slightly at entry, but that wouldn't affect him too much. Riding the curves through turn 1 and turn 2. Bit oversteer coming out of turn 3. Now heading into turn number 4. Turn to the 50-meter board. Use that curve there. Right. Oh, he hit the wall and he's lost his front wing. A bit too much steering rotation there. and sadly for him, knocked off all of his front wings. So that, I dare say, depending on how much time left, is qualifying over. But he has to get out of the way of all the cars approach. Yep, that's qualifying over for him, sadly. So he will not participate anymore. And sadly for him, he'll start down in P9 or P10, depending if Tage Leroy does improve. So some cars, Pyro's just invalidated through turn number 2. And I'm trying to go on board with somebody that's closer towards the line. Walter's also invalidated as well. So quite a few validations or mistakes in his final few stages of qualifying. That pressure just kicking in there. Maybe not pressure, just trying to push a little bit too hard for extra performance, but stepping over the limit just a bit and therefore validated. So I wonder who's on a clean lap. Nathan then, I think, is the next one.
A Aroni driver on a clean actual flying lap, and he's just coming through the first sector.
Yeah, so let's see how it takes it. Very nicely to it, carrying the momentum, carrying the speed, lifting off slightly, and yeah, beautiful to it. Down to 6th gear there to get the extra rotation. A little bit of a mistake out of that corner there, turn 11, and 2/10 up initially on his flying lap, so he could find himself in the 26s if he keeps it nice and clean. Then be careful, be patient with the throttle here, using the wall, not using it obviously, but get as close to the wall on the outside. Now flicking it in, hook the inside line here, and place your car in the middle of the track, middle of the curve through there, which he does do. Don't hit that wall, which he doesn't do either. So very clean lap from Nathan. I wonder, could we see him in the 26s? Can we find himself a pole position 2/10 up in that middle sector? So he keeps it nice and clean, flicks it in, carries the speed through there. Lovely amount of commitment and speed through there. Uses that curve as well, a little bit of rotation, straightens the car up. DRS enabled then as he makes his way all the way down his back straight, and he's going to hit that final corner. He needs to get a perfect final corner, because obviously we saw Max Verstappen and a few others here as well make contact. It's very easy to lose the car here, and gets a lovely exit, does Nathan JB, out that final corner. Let's see then where he places that Aston Martin. He crossed the line to go, stays P5, but it's a 26.8 and a few hundredths off total P's this time. And I think next across the line is Tage Leroy then, making his way out the final corner. DRS enabled, and let's see where he can place that Williams, and it's going to be P2. It's a Williams 1-2. 26.7 from Tage Leroy, but we've still got more people to cross the line. And I think Ferg, the next one, he's 2/10 up in that final sector, in that middle sector. He had the rears lock up in the final corner, but he got the spot on this time. And let's see then how much time he made due to that mistake. And it's P5 ahead of P's. P's improving in the middle sector there. We've got a Ferrari next to cross the line, which is Rudy. 3/10 up. I think Rudy's on course for pole position. And he crossed the line, and it's pole with a 26.4. What a fantastic lap time there. And let's see if Giroud does a clap back.
Invalidated. Rerun cannot improve.
Robbie has also invalidated. Total P is purple in the middle sector, improved by a 10th. So let's see then, can he snatch pole position away from Rudy? Ahead of him is Pyro and Walter, who are on their lap. So Pyro making his way towards that final corner then. He was almost on pole back in Spain. Can he take pole position away from Rudy then? As he makes his way towards the line, it's going to be a 26.8, goes P4, but where's Walter? P4 only for our championship contender. And where is Pease? Pease goes P3, and it'll be Rudy who'll take pole position.
That will be us, the two Aston Martins jumping into the pitch. Rudy taking pole position with a 26.488, a 10th, or just under it, clear of Jeroen. Pease 26.683 gets P3. Another solid qualifying from the Mercedes driver. Tage Leroy had the Williams 1-2 for a short time, but couldn't quite hold on to it. Walter, less than 200s back from the Williams in the Haas. Pyro and V Robbie and Ferg and Nathan all finding themselves in the 26.8, with AJ having the poor banker and then that ultimately fateful crash that ended his qualifying, restricting his lap time. So just under 4/10 separating the front 9 here. Very, very little separating that mid-pack of the top 10. P4 even to P9. Very little between it. You could even include P's in that mix. Looks like a Dutch battle for the win at the moment between Rudy and Jeroen. Of course, all of these guys going to be starting on the softs, having to pit on lap 9-ish, shall we say. 8 to 10 expected pit stop for these guys. I wonder if the bottom 10 will have exactly what we had in Spain. The top 10 on softs, the bottom 10 on mediums. Could be a track for it. Any safety car could really play into strategy, and of course overtaking is going to be a premium here. So This could be a tasty Grand Prix for us, Jamie, and for everybody, of course, watching. Just hang in here for 25 laps of the Jeddah Grand Prix.
It might be chaotic like it was back in Spain. It's such a tight, twisty track as well, especially that first sector. I don't expect anybody to go side by side in that first sector if they can help it, because it's very important to stay within DRS range because it's so hard to catch up as well. So, yeah, will we see anybody drop further down? Because we saw Sivo Gamer last week where he struggled to get into a rhythm, must be said. And if we can find anybody doing that as well. But Rudy looking really confident after a strong win back in Spain. Started P9, of course, at the Spanish GP. Kept out a lot of trouble as well, did Rudy, and found himself winning the race, whereas others made the mistake. So other people's mistake can be somebody else's reward. And also, if safety cars come out at the right time, people could also benefit them or disadvantage them, because if it comes out very early, let's say for like lap 8 or 9, then it benefit the soft runners, and the medium runners will have to go on the hard if they want to do, if they can help it or not. I'm not quite sure what they do actually. Will they go on the soft compound tires and try and make it towards the end? But the tire wear is not too bad around here, I don't expect. So yeah, 25 lap around this street circuit of Jeddah, 53 laps in the actual event, and I can't wait to see what it has for us.
Sure to be an interesting one indeed. Like you say there, one man's treasure is another man's trash, and that is very much how the safety cars work in every track, but more so a track like this where overtaking and strategy has such a big influence. Let's have a look at our tyres then. What is the graphic saying? Interesting one, of course, the top 10 forced onto those softs, as is Jaime in P13. Liam Carrick in P19 rotation, of course, suffering from that 5-second grid penalty, finds himself in P20 on the softs. The rest of our drivers, the 7 other, Bumpy, Mark, Tigriff, Seb, Steiny, Andreas and Marty opting for the mediums, so they'll be running to around about lap 15 to 17 expected anyway. Plenty of action to come before then though.
P's and P3, can he finally get some good results going, as he has some let's say some bad luck in the past, such as Spain, Monza as well, and Australia had some bad luck. Not just P's, but Javoon as well also had some bad luck in other races, and Wild as well down in P5. So can any of our championships rivals claw back, extend the championship lead, or reduce it? I know P's is the second place, and he's 61 points behind Javoon, and Wild is 69 points behind Javoon, but 8 points away from Pease, so those two are very close to the championship. But Javoon looking really good in the championship so far. Can he extend that championship? Could Pease do anything about it? Rudy is currently P4. He actually overtook Andreas in the championship, so he's getting closer and closer, and he's not too far away from P3 and P2 in the championship. And he's really sorting himself out in this season, and P1 is a good way to do it as well. So yeah, Rudy looking really strong after coming from a good win in Spain. Boost his confidence, like he said, and expect some changes after Rudy's trying to change his driving style. And it's looking really good so far for Rudy, but 25 lap race ahead of us, anything could happen.
Absolutely, that confidence boost from Spain, still riding high with him as he takes the pole, but looking like a very interesting race. Pole is not worth anything, folks. Remember, it's all about where you finish, and first you have to finish, and that will be the key for a lot of drivers' races here tonight as they line up on the grid for the inaugural Tier 1 CRL Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here on the streets of Jeddah. Final cars lining up, coming around the final corner there. As rotation in the McLaren takes his spot in the number 20 grid slot. The cars settling in, engines roaring, tyres giving off heat, the crucial degrees of heat, of course, affecting the grip each one. But it is going to be 4, 5 red lights, lights out, and away we go for the inaugural Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Jeroen getting a very good start, side by side with Rudy down into turn 1. Of course, Rudy's outside of turn 1, turns inside the turn 2, but Jeroen getting the move done. Further back, there's cars all over the place, swapping and changing. Jamie, what have you seen there from the start? There seems to be a lot of cars going side by side on board with Tigriff, as it Mark and Bumpy going side by side, almost switching back there through the high speed corners, but finding themselves back into a rhythm and a train. Any contact did you notice, Jamie? Any controversy, shall we say?
Just some good side-by-side racing. A little bit of contact between Rudy and Giroud in the first two corners, but as expensive being such tight corners. But that was really good of Giroud to go around the outside, go down the inside and get the outside line, get a better traction, get on the exit, get on the throttle very quickly, and get himself a P1 and lead the race instantly ahead of Rudy. But yeah, that was really good racing from all the drivers. It looks like Ferg and Robbie are battling as well. Robbie overtaking Ferg for P7 or defending from him as they're both Aston Martins are close together as well, as Pyro is on the back of Walter for P5. But yeah, just all jostling for positioning for that early first lap. Nobody, surprisingly, spinning or making contact with the wall. But we've got Nathan right behind Ferg. Will he try to go down the inside into this final corner we go? Look, he's staying on the inside line, better contact with the side pod, but Ferg gets a much better exit, better traction, and he stays in P8. But Nathan definitely uses that ERS. He definitely wants to get past Ferg in these early stages of this lap. Will he go down the inside into turn one? Does he go late on the brakes? Ferg doesn't outbrake himself. He stays on his line and he maintains that P8. So did he get under pressure much by Nathan, who attempted that move, and he stays in P9 and AJ at the back of him as well. But rotation and Liam then already in the pit lane, I presume for front wing change that we didn't see contact for both of them at the early part of the race. But yeah, those two are in the pit lane, and sadly for them, they're hoping for a safety car on the medium compound tyres, just hoping for a safety car. But yeah, looks like Giroud 9/10 already in P1 ahead of Rudy. So Rudy then has to find some pace as he's outside the 1 second range. He needs to claw himself back in to get himself in that DRS range. He's going to start using a lot of ERS because actually Giroud's got more ERS in comparison to Rudy. You thought it'd be the other way around, where Giroud's pushing really, really hard to get himself outside that 1 second range. But yeah, Rudy then definitely needs to respond back, otherwise it could be a DRS provided from the guys behind. But Nathan then gets ahead of Ferg. Ferg must have made a mistake out of those corners. He's got AJ, the other brother, right behind him. Oh, he hit the wall again, did Ferg, and I dare say he's lost an end plate or got light green damage, and AJ will be all over the back of him. But early stage of this race, Jeroen Visser has pulled a 1-3 second gap, and Pease looks like he's going to put pressure on Rudy ahead of him. AJ is going to go around the outside in the final corner. Does he make the stick? No, he doesn't. Has to back out of it. Too much understeer. I didn't want to go in the wall, but he's got Jime right behind him then as AJ is flashing ERS. Oh, a bit of contact between Jime and AJ there. And Jime then going side by side with AJ as they both go on the brakes. Then it's turn one and turn two. Who gets ahead? I think it'll be Jime with the outside line and a much better exit. Yes, it is.
We said overtaking might be a little funny here, but we've had quite a few. Steiny is into the pits at the end of lap 2, seemed to have some contact of some sort, probably with the wall. We did see him having a 3 second penalty for Cotton, so I'm assuming he's hit the wall and had to take a little bit of runoff there. Ferg not jumping in the pits, so seems to either have very minimal damage or has very luckily got away with it. But you've seen the amount of time there, a little mistake from him. Lost out to Nathan and very nearly lost out to AJ, defending really good into that final corner, just positioning the car perfectly to lock off the outside move. But what a start from Jeroen, like you're saying. 1.3 seconds clear of Rudy in P2. Rudy already down to 16% ERS. Jeroen using a little bit more now, like you're saying, down to the low teens already, but he's out of that DRS range. And that will be crucial because once this DRS gets enabled, the squabbling will well and truly begin, and in fact, prepare for it to be enabled this very coming lap. The first instance to use it at the end of Sector 1, that activation zone through the long right-hander towards the end of the sector, and a chance to use it. But P's getting the move on Rudy, using that extra ERS to his advantage. He's really draining the battery compared to the guys behind him. Jeroen expected to have drained the battery with that gap he's had, but now that's going to leave Rudy very, very vulnerable, especially as he starts to slink his way down this DRS train. Very, very difficult in ways to build up the ERS around here. Not a lot of heavy braking zones, so a long race ahead, however, but not looking too good to start for the first stint here for Rudy and the Ferrari. It was Taze Leroy runs wide.
Yeah, Jime was all over the back of her. He wisely backed out going into turn number 4, I believe. They were side by side, but one of them had to back out, which was Jime, because Ferg had the racing line and was just further ahead as well. So, yeah, we saw what happened to Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel when they both came together trying to go side by side through that tight corner in turn 4. But yeah, P's now ahead into P2. The gap is 2.1. They're all right behind P's, and now it's Rudy's turn to save ERS. Ideally, They don't want to be fighting each other because they want to close that gap towards Giroud Vizor. But yeah, Rudy, with the lack of EOS, now behind Pease can save some bit. But crucial thing for Giroud now, as he's completely ran out of EOS, no percentage whatsoever, no battery whatsoever for Giroud until the next lap. But there goes Rudy then, alongside Pease. Mortez will try to follow as well, as Rudy goes around the outside and gets the move done. But I believe DRS will belong towards Rudy. And look at Pease, look at Taze Leroy as well. He's right behind Pease and Rudy as Pease makes his way past. There goes Walter as well. Walter's in the middle of Taze Leroy and Rudy. Oh, bit of contact!
Big collision there. That could be a safety car, Jamie. This could be the first of the night. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I didn't fully catch it. It looked to be Pease running into the back of Taze Leroy. Is that right?
I think it was the other way round. I'm not quite sure, but I felt I was on board with Pease there, and I felt somebody hit me on the rear left. Like, I could actually feel the damage as well. So yeah, somebody hit us as I was on board with Pease.
It's a strange one. It was almost 4 wide going in there. It looked as if they'd separated themselves out, and then, in all honesty, from the third perspective, the third camera perspective I had, it looked as if Pease's front right just exploded on him, just as if it was almost like a suspension failure. It was a really jerky collision. A strange one. I expect we'll see that in the stewarding office, and who would be a steward, folks? That'll be an interesting one. I would love to see the footage. But in the meantime, back to this battle for P2. Pyro picking up a 3-second time penalty already in this early stint, but himself, Rudy and Wouter all going to have a nice little DRS run on Taze Leroy. I'm seeing history repeat herself, Jamie. They're going 3 wide into the final corner. Taze Leroy getting a little bit of a switch back to the inside. Rudy right behind the Red Bull of Pyro, moving across, barely leaving any room for Taze Leroy. This is insane.
Gonna go bad. I can see something's coming, but hopefully this all sort themselves out. But Pyro came out of nowhere. Rudy outbrakes himself in turn 1. Bit of contact between Pyro and Walter. Pyro gets a really bad exit with wheel spin. There goes Robbie as well. Taze Leroy on Rudy, but Robbie's coming through. One of them has to yield. You can't go side by side there. And as you can see, Pyro has to back out. And you can't go side by side through there no matter what. And obviously, I think Pyro's got damage as well by the way he's turning in. He's dropping a lot of positions. But yeah, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, a lot of people are optimistic. And Pyro essentially came out from nowhere. P5 to P2. He overtook 2 for 1 in that last corner ahead of Rudy and Taze Leroy. But you've got to be really careful to plan your moves because it could all go wrong in a short time. And as you can see there from Total P's, yeah, a lot of people slipstream each other to try and get past in turn 1. And P's made it through, but I think somebody outbroke themselves as they carried a lot of speed before turn 1 and hit the back of him and cost him to lose the wheel. But yeah, a lot of contact so far. Look at Giroud, 4.2 seconds ahead. He loves this because he's out of EOS completely and he can't use any more because he's actually run out of the amount of laps the amount of battery power you have for 1 lap. So he's actually run out. But Pyro, they're dropping positions. You can see Taze Leroy right behind Rudy, Walter there as well, Robbie's there as well, Nathan and Jime, and Rudy then going to get slipstreamed all the way into before turn 1. There goes Taze Leroy. I think Walter will follow soon as well. They make it 3 wide yet again. Taze Leroy defending from Walter, and there we go then. Walter has the inside line of Taze Leroy. They both break late as Taze Leroy has the inside line, but a bit of contact made. Rudy's looking to get back as well as they go side by side coming out of turn 2. Walter is ahead because Taze Leroy backed out. Smartly for him, he knows he can't go side by side through there. But yeah, good race between all of them as Rudy then lost 2 places on 1 straight.
Seems to be an interesting one. You almost want to be the third car in the train because just with the double slipstream, the DRS, it just really seems to propel you up the road. Rotation there, having a little rotation, it seems, in the exit of turn 27. I had to get that in there just as a little reference for P. Shout out for that one. But a lot of cars pitting already. Pyro, Steiny, Liam Carrig, T-Griff and Rotation all been in the pits. Rudy and Taze Leroy going side by side. And Robbie's got a really good run out of that right-hander there. Going to get the move done on Leroy. Smartly tucking back into single file as
Rudy's got DRS damage. Rudy's got full weight damage, I'm afraid. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, that's why he's holding the pack up. As you can see, he's 1.5 seconds away. We've got a Red Bull who's spun coming out of turn number 13. But look, they're all right behind Rudy. This could all go wrong if they don't be careful. Taze Leroy backs out. Robbie's trying to go around the outside. There's Nathan as well. Nathan going around the outside, but Rudy will duck into the pit lane. As in the background, you can see AJ losing traction there, and he goes into pit lane then. So Aston Martin in P3 and P4 with Taze Leroy in P5, Jaime in P6. But as you can see then, Walter has pulled away. Down the inside goes AJ on Jaime, but Jaime has it covered and he stays in P6 there. You can see Mark lurking in the background there as well, so you can see quite a few things going on as trying to get past Ferg for P8.
Listen, we said, oh, Taze Leroy going for a nice move round the outside of Nathan. Has he got damage?
Yes, he has.
I was about to say, he was looking really understeery, a little bit off centre there, and ultimately that damage paying the price.
This could be a safety car. It could be a safety car because somebody's crashed at the final corner and he's stationary as well.
Pyro after pitting on those fresh mediums. I don't know if we will get a safety car just with the lack of cars coming through that section. Rotation has retired in the pits. And oh, big collision there, Taze Leroy! I did not catch what happened there, Jamie, did you?
No, mate, I just saw a car spear into the wall on the right-hand side, and yeah, it's Taze Leroy. That was on a straight as well. So was he actually fighting with Jaime or Robbie? He can't crash there by himself, or did he actually misjudge the turn in there? So that's an odd one on that straight, but yeah, a safety car came out on lap 8, and the soft runners will head into the pit lane and change their tyres. So yeah, this is going to be a really interesting race. Jerome has his lead absolutely wiped out, as everybody going to head into pit lane then to change onto a brand new set of mediums. I'm not quite sure what the mediums would do. We're about to see. Head Bompier is in the pit lane along with Mark. Is any mediums? No, Mark stays out there. But you can see that Nathan changed his front wing. The safety cars came out at the perfect time for him to change his front wing. But obviously they have to do a double stack. And AJ, for some reason, is on the hard compound tyres. That's not a really good idea. This softer medium and these mediums could very easily make it to the end. Oh, Mark almost hit the safety car there.
Not the first time we've seen Mark have incidents with the safety cars. Mark, Marty and Andreas all staying out. I think that's a strategy I would go for. Given the carnage and the little bit of incidents we've had so far this race, you'd gamble on there being a second safety car. Yes, you're going to lose time to the guys behind you, but track position, we expect it to be key. It doesn't seem to be too key now unless you can get out of that DRS train. Batteries will be getting fully deployed here, of course. AJ onto the hards. I can't help but think that is a click of the Jeff button to confirm a pit stop and him not having time to change the tyres back. So I wonder, would we see him jump back into the pits and just put the mediums on? Because a track like this, high speed, technical sections as well, the hards are not going to be a nice thing to be on for 16 laps.
No, they're not. And Head Bompier, C, Liam, Karag and Stanley are on the soft compound tyres. Now, I think they can go towards the end, but they're going to be worn out. Because I know this tyre wear is not high around here. And I did some practice runs as well for my race on Monday. And the soft tyres weren't too bad. So I think the softs can go to the end, but going to be off the cliff. And they're going to hope onto the safety car to reduce that tyre wear as well, which is going to be most likely. But AJ, they will be definitely struggling on those hard compound tyres. They're the most hardest tyre. They're not malleable like the soft compound tyre, not sticky. So they're going to be really, really difficult to get up to temperature immediately and get used to them as well, because they're not going to have that grip to the high-speed corners. So they're going to be really careful. He's going to be really careful to not to get caught out by that. But yeah, he's got medium runners behind him. He's got Head Bompier on the soft compound tyres right behind him. So he's definitely going to struggle. But the hard compound tyres usually work within like 10, 11, 12 laps of the Grand Prix, because they start to lose wear. They become a softer tyre in that sense. He's in the pits.
As we say, the pendulum starts to swing from the hards. Having that extra tyre life, it comes into play later on. But he is in the pits, like you say. I wonder what we'll see from him. Sorry there, Jimmy, as well. I was sort of totally zoned out there. Just showing the viewers at home some lovely, lovely camera angles. Jacob going on to the mediums. Will find himself at the back of the queue, however, losing out big on track position. However, probably the best choice overall. Less chance of losing your wing in the wall with dodgy tyres. But I'm just going to say, props to Codemasters from a commentator's point of view. First time really being involved in a Grand Prix on this circuit, and some of the camera angles we're getting are absolutely amazing around here. Especially nice to enjoy them under a safety car like now. What do you think though, Jamie? Safety car in this lap. The grid will be fully packed up. Should be good for going at the end of this one.
Yeah, I think maximum laps. If all cars are bunched together, the maximum laps is 2 laps. But if not, it's 3. So I think the safety car will be in the end of this lap. But question is now, like we saw in Spain, how quickly can Jeroen Vizser make his way, and how safely as well can he make his way through 3 drivers, Andreas, Marty, and Mark? I know Marty is a driver that never gives up. He don't care if people behind him on fresher tires. He's one of those drivers that absolutely go for it. I think same for all 3 of them actually, but. Marty's is in the Mercedes. Pease is not. I was about to mention if we could help Pease, but he's not the race salad for him, which is hard to mention. But yes, a bad race for Pease. I don't know what happened down at turn 1 because it all happened so quickly, and it's very hard to judge what happened because all 4 of them were coming at one corner. So yeah, very hard to judge. We can only see what happened from his point of view, and hopefully, yeah, his championship rival Walter will definitely get ahead of him if he doesn't make a mistake himself, because the gap is only 8 points. So expect Walter to overtake him in the championship for P2. But the safety car is in this lap, and Mark will have control. And let's see then, will there be any contact between the front runners of Jeroen, Walter, Robbie, as all the pack starts to slow down? They almost got caught out by that, if you saw that, because they were going flat out and they stopped.
Mark really slowing down the pack there, of course. The safety car coming into the pits. He is the new safety car, can choose when to go. Take a nice wide line round the final corner. And he has gunned it on the exit, getting a really good launch compared to Marty, catching him sleeping. Andreas side by side with Marty. And just going to get the move done just as the green flags turn. And it's almost 4 wide into turn 1. Jeroen going down the inside, getting the 2 of them in one. Valter getting forced out and having to settle back in for P5. He's got the 2 older medium cars in front of him, and he's really got to clear them quick if he's going to have any hope of challenging Jeroen. Not a section you want to be going side by side, but he tries in slight contact with Marty, and Marty having to fade away and give position there. Next up on his list, Andreas. Heart and mouth moment there, Jamie. You've Robbie now going side by side.
Yeah, that's so that's so intense between those guys, especially that first sector, because Marty was out of rhythm in the first sector, allowed all the guys to get on the back of it. But Walter is all over the back of Andreas. Jeroen Vizser, the way he got past those guys was so easy. All he had to do was outdrag them on the straight. But Bompia has fallen down the order, and he rejoins in P18. Not quite sure if he went for a spin or hit the wall there, but he's rejoined in P18, sadly for him. And he's on the soft compound tires, but something's gone up further ahead. All the cars are bunched together thanks to this old medium runner, but hopefully they can sort themselves out. There goes Wildstead alongside of Andreas. Needs to get his move as quickly as he can, as Jeroen Vizser has caught up to Mark very quickly, and he might overtake him down into turn 1. Walter got past Andreas, and Robbie is right behind Andreas as well. He wants to get past him, but here goes Jeroen Vizser. He has got past Mark for P1. Not messing around tonight, he's Jeroen Vizser, getting things done immediately, and Robbie has got past Andreas for P5. And let's see, Rudy going on Marty for P8. So looks like they're making their way quickly and make sure they don't break any different wings. But Seavor Gamer is the next one. New softs versus old mediums. Expect this to be a very easy one because of the difference in tyres. So Seavor Gamer then will have to get past him very quickly if he wants to make progress on the cars. But Marty hit the wall,
and Steve collecting into the rear of Marty. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yes, he picked up a 3-second time, but there was a ball with that. C got caught out by Marty's mistake, and Liam then going side by side in this banking here, and Seavor Gamer stays ahead. For the time being, does Liam get a better exit? No, he doesn't. So a lot of things going on further behind. We've got Steiny and AJ fighting as well for P14 and P16, but they're all behind Marty then, defending as much as he can. And he hits the wall, and there goes Nathan then. Nathan has got past Marty for P9. Seavor Gamer will love to follow through if he failed to overtake him in the first sector. And Seavor Gamer then alongside him, but backs out because he can't go side by side through a fast corner like this. But he hits the back of him due to the difference in tyre speed. And yeah, I think Seavor Gamer is definitely going to win out this battle. But when I mentioned Jeroen Vizser, he got past those 2 drivers very quickly. It looks like the setup of his car, the straight line speed he had was amazing. And he was able to get past 2 cars before the first corner. But a bit of contact between Andreas and Jaime there. And advantage for Ferg, I think. And for Ferg, as he gets behind. Going 3 wide into turn 1. In fact, one of the Alpines backed out And Ferg's trying to go around the outside into turn 1. He has the inside line for the next corner in turn 2. Which one gets a better exit? It'll be Jaime, the one that gets a better exit. And he'll stay in P5 ahead of Ferg and Andreas. Rudy next to overtake Andreas, but quite a few things happening as Walter then on the back of Mark, but the gap between Jeroen and that Walter is about 3 seconds, if I can work it out from interval.
Yeah, Jeroen really re-establishing that gap he had already, showing a really dominant display here. Really, a lot of overtakes going on though, even after the safety car restart. Of course, the grid bunched up, different tyres, whatever, but no DRS, full batteries of DRS I suppose. Nice bit of action going on here tonight. Rudy, Nathan and Andreas all together as Valter gets the move done on Mark. Robbie closing in on the back of that Alfa Romeo. Thinks about going right, the gap disappears and has to back out, but Mark closing up on the rear of that Haas here. I don't know if he's quite got the tyre grip, but with the assist of the DRS here, expect to see Valter drop down a few positions. Mark going for the inside, Robbie following suit, and that will be bye-bye Valter. But of course the DRS shifting back to Mark's disadvantage. Valter having to back out, not getting squeezed into the wall by Robbie there. Will pick up the DRS on the two cars in front, but having that little bit of a poor Rexer, not quite getting the same run. Robbie not able to get past Mark either, so through this first sector now, the tight and technical section, the old medium runner are going to be holding up ahead, and this is only going to be doing Jeroen many favours. Further back though, the battle for P8 rages on.
Nathan's just got past Rudy and Andreas, so 2 for 1 he took down the inside of Rudy and Andreas. Liam's next to follow as well, right behind the Alpine, and Jeroen's just checked out the front. He's not going to be under threat. But look at Robbie, they're getting past Mark, and here comes Walter. He's going to go around the outside into turn 13. They go side by side now, but Robbie on the better line should have a better exit, but they're still side by side. They're coming out the corner. They should be settled before the next one because it's going to be a tight one. And yeah, Walter backs that up. But Robbie goes deep into that corner because he didn't have the optimal racing line that he would have wanted in that corner, but he stays ahead for the time being. The problem is though, Walter is right behind him. Will have DRS as Jaime has got past Mark, and Ferg lets Mark go. No, Mark lets Ferg go, sorry, but Walter is right behind Robbie then. He should get DRS. And let's see that if he goes for the overtake in the last corner, or will he wait for the first corner? Will he close that DRS? No, he's going to go for it immediately. So Robbie then will have to try and set him up into turn 1, but Walter blasts past the Aston Martin. Robbie trying to get his trying to get his first podium of the season after he failed to get the podium twice after post-race penalties. But there he goes then, DRS, ERS, and he should make the move stick into before turn 1 as Mark is in the pit lane for the end of his first stint on the medium compound tyres. Robbie then gets himself into P2, but the problem Robbie has, he's got a 3-second time penalty sadly for him.
An interesting one there. Robbie giving a little wiggle off the steering wheel down the straight is almost as we've seen it, commonplace with drivers when they're not happy about something. So I wonder if a little bit of contact or a little bit of something going on between those two. Anyways, Robbie getting back in front, but Valter gonna have the DRS again down to this turn 13, but not quite close enough to make the move. Robbie a little heavy on the battery usage when compared to Valter, but Jeroen 3.6 seconds clear again at the front. This man seems to be unstoppable around the circuit. Not one to give the commentators curse. I'm going to touch this wooden table right in front of me just to make sure, but the only thing that looks to be stopping Jeroen right now is one of these walls.
Yeah, he's just checked out the front. This is his track. He's certain his dominance around this track, and he's not been under pressure whatsoever. Nobody's got close to him except the safety car restart, but he overtook those guys immediately. He wasn't messing around behind Marty and Andreas. He overtook them immediately on the straight, on the restart as well. I thought he spent some hard time overtaking him. I thought he's had to wait for the DRS to open to try and overtake him, but no. His straight line speed was amazing to get past both of them, and both of them were using the ERS as well to try and get ahead of each other. And there goes Walter and Robbie for P2. Ferg is right behind Jaime, but can't make it into turn 1 as Robbie has to concede the place against Walter. But yeah, Jeroen Vizor then, this looked like it's his track, and he's doing a fantastic job so far. Not under pressure whatsoever. I dare say, what could have Walter done if he wasn't stuck behind those two guys, because he did spend a lot of time. Oh, Robbie's made a mistake! And Jaime then has got past him. The Rio just went out on Robbie, hasn't got a grip through there, and he rejoins behind his Aston Martin teammate on Nathan JB then. So all down to Robbie's mistake. has cost him a few places, and sadly rejoined down to P6. I wonder, did the tyres overheat? Did he got enough grip around those corners? Because I saw the last lap, he was sliding quite a lot, so he didn't have quite the downforce level he would have wanted in those corners.
It almost looked like a big snapper under oversteer.
Oh, hit the wall.
Oh, definitely some issues then for the Aston Martin. Looked like a big snapper oversteer, I was going to say, to the right on a left-hand corner, which makes no sense. Very, very strange one, but that will be, looks to be anyway, front wing damage of some sort. Maybe not, maybe he's got away with that, however. But anyway, he has lost out plenty of time. Jaime now in P3. He's a second and 2/10 adrift of Valter. Rudy going for the move on Robbie again. ERS, sorry. Really, really getting used and abused here. But of course, the DRS and the slipstream so strong, you might as well.
Yeah, I got some news for CRC Gamer. He was fighting, I believe, with Steiny, and he pulled out, but he pulled out in the wall and he lost his front wing. So he pulled out all the way to the right, and sadly he broke his front wing. So that's his mistake there. It wasn't Steiny. Steiny stayed where he was, and CRC Gamer just carried a lot of speed and just hit the wall sadly for him. So he's in the pit lane as Liam and Robbie in the wall. Did he escape? I'm not quite sure if he escaped. Did he actually hit the wall?
He hit the wall, but just the angle he hit it at seems to have got away with minimal damage. Maybe slight little bit of light green damage. All four wheels intact. The front wing looking fairly intact, but that was a big moment. Tyre pressures maybe not quite dialed in what he would be expecting them to be here, judging by that for Robbie tonight. That was nearly a big one. I've got to say props to the drivers that were behind him and round about him for missing him, and props to Robbie for positioning the car in a perfect crash to slot between the two cars driving past him.
This man, Robbie, needs a change of fortune because I've mentioned this all the time. He's a fast driver, he's always up there, but these mistakes just cost crucially for him. And look at Jaime going on Ferg, and Jaime is on the podium. I don't think Jaim's been on the podium before, if I remember correctly, but he is up into P3 ahead of Ferg, and he's fighting with Nathan, defending from Nathan, and Steiny and AJ going after Steiny and P8 in the points, in the top 10 it must be said, doing a fantastic job as well. And look at that, here comes Ferg then, defending from Nathan, but attacking Jaime, so doing two things at once is Ferg, trying to go around the outside, but can't quite make it, and Nathan trying to go around the outside, but he can't make it either. Can Nathan get himself on the podium, because he hasn't got a penalty? And look at that, Rudy's coming at him, and they go side by side, but Rudy has to back out that one. Thought about it, but he knew he had to conceal, otherwise one of them will have to make contact with each other. But yeah, Robbie is in the pit lane to change it for wing. That man just definitely needs a change of fortune, because I dare say his confidence has been not looking confident as he was early in the season where he had that fire. And look at that, Berg's been overtaken by Rudy and Nathan, and Berg goes wide. It might open the door for Liam, which he does do, bit of contact between those two, but Liam then stays ahead. And Berg looks like he's really struggling now. He's got Steiny right behind him as well in P8, and AJ following as well. So yeah, it looks like some drivers are already struggling around the streets of Jeddah.
I've got to say, this race, not what I was expecting. A lot of overtakes, little bits of contact here and there. It's very reminiscent of almost the touring car race we've got on here tonight. Little taps here and there, a little bit of contact, some drama, some action. Plenty of overtakes and plenty of shuffling for positions, moves going, 2 or 3 cars back. Speaking of a move, here comes Steiny on Ferg. Both having the DRS, both using a little bit of ERS. Steiny opting for the inside into the final corner. Going down and deep, just about keeps it out of the wall. Now he's going to find himself 3 wide with Ferg and AJ Ferg ducking into the pits. However, 8 laps on those mediums, obviously not liking them. Going to set on a set of softs, but finds himself a 5-second speeding into the pit lane penalty for his troubles. AJ and Steiny still side by side through the first few corners here. Turn 4, the left-hander going into the turn 5, and Steiny backing out, rightfully so, knowing that it's not going to be pretty if they try and go side by side there. Really, really beautiful track to watch these battles on, especially when you've got the drivers of a calibre like this. They know when to defend, when to concede, when to attack, and it's been absolutely glorious to watch. Still 6 and a bit laps to go here though, so plenty of action still to come. Jeroen 4.5 seconds clear, looking to extend his championship lead, however.
I'm in P3 doing a fantastic job so far. Can this man get a first podium of the season? Because I know he's not had the best of races either. it must be said. He's currently P11 in the championship with 62 points, almost inside the top 10 behind AJ. But I know he's struggled in a few races, and he's currently in P3. So let's see what he can do. The Alfa Romeo driver kept himself out of trouble tonight, but he's bringing along a DRS train on Nathan and Rudy. The top 5 haven't got a penalty, whereas everybody downwards has got a penalty. So yeah, the top 5 then keep it clean on penalties, and that's really important as well, because if a late safety car comes out, could find themselves jumping up the order, the ones that haven't got a penalty. But yeah, every single one of them, P6 downwards, yep, has got a penalty. So any of these drivers can get the podium, such as Nathan and Rudy and Jaime. And here comes Nathan then going back down the inside. This will be Nathan's second podium if he gets one, I believe.
It would be his first of the season. He did join us for a quick podium interview, but sadly, the steward's office taken that away from him. So it would technically, I believe, be his first podium of the season. I must say, speaking to him, knowing him pretty well, he's been desperate for one, and there's Rudy's chances taking a big stab. 3-second time penalty, joins the rest of the drivers further down. Jaime, though, looking in a very strong position. Love to see him up on a podium, a new driver in the podium. I must admit, typically finds himself in the second half of the grid most tracks, but really finding his feet here in Jeddah, and hopefully this is a sign of things to come from the Dutchman, I believe. So I believe he's Dutch anyway.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, he is Dutch. I've spoken to him before. Yeah, did you say Nathan has a podium taken away from him?
I'm pretty sure he did. That one time he did join us. I'm sure he had a nice little podium taken off him.
Yeah, that's what's with Aston Martin getting their podium taken away from Robbie and Nathan. 3 times in a row they got their podium taken away from him. Yeah, but that's weird. Oh, Jaime's in the wall. He's out. He lost traction all by himself. I was on board with the Dutch driver, and he lost traction. Safety car has came out.
This could be huge. Liam Carrick getting into the pit's going to get a fresh set of softs on. So I wonder, has the safety car caught Jeroen? It doesn't look like it has. So the pack not going to reform up that. Not as big for Liam as he could have hoped, but expect to see everybody on the softs. Huge here though for Jeroen, Wouter and Nathan, the only ones without a penalty, of course. Could be a podium decided, but plenty to go. I've got to say, I do feel as if that's a bit of commentator's curse. My big apologies do go out to Jaime. But a solid showing from you tonight if you are listening in at any point, either live or later on. Big showing. I really hope to see you back up there again soon. But safety car lap 21, we can expect that to last to lap 22, 23. Could be a 2-lap shootout here.
What would you do if you're in the top 4? Would you put on a brand new set of softs? Would you risk that? I am not quite sure. Look, the gap between 1st to 7th is like 20, quite a few, a long way behind. So you might be joined down in P5 or P6. Is anybody going to go in the pit lane? Will Giroud risk it in the pit lane with a few laps to go? Because the difference in tyres between softs and mediums is going to be high. And I wonder if anybody of them going to dive into pit lane. I don't know. It's a tricky one. I've been in a situation by myself before, and I've stayed out. But surprisingly, the softeners just caught me on the last lap. And I was really frustrated to get the lead taken away from the last lap in the last corner as well. But Jeroen, he is going to stay out. What about Wouter? Is he going to dive in the pit lane? You're going to rejoin down in P6. Yes, he is. And so is Nathan JB. Rudy stays out. AJ's in the pits, and Steiny is in the pit lane as well. So is that going to be the best decision? I dare say Jeroen has been fortunate with one driver staying out there, because I dare say if Rudy pitted, he'll have people on a brand new set of tyres right behind him. So he's lucky that he's got Rudy right behind him. But how quickly are they going to get past Rudy? Because if they get past Rudy very quickly, Giroud is going to be under massive pressure. This man has dominated the race. Could it be taken away from him in the last few laps due to him not pitting? It's quite... Yeah, you don't want to give that track position, because I dare say if Giroud did pit, others wouldn't. Rudy would have stayed out. And you know how hard Rudy defends. He will not give up. Wouter, would he have stayed out? We don't know. So yeah, I think it's a really tricky position to be in P1, because you don't know whether it's pit or not. It could be the right choice, it could be the bad choice. It could be the right choice, we could end up in some contact trying to get past those guys.
I think it's a trigger. I think Nathan had the call. He had to go with the softs. Everybody round about him on the penalties, he was about 6 seconds on race pace. Of course, less time for that to go, but It's going to reform, but he didn't really have the pace, it seemed, on the same tyre compound as Jeroen, or maybe even Wouter to a degree. You know, Wouter pulled out a second gap, so gambling on the softs. Rudy's got the 3 second time penalty, and if he did stay out like he has, he's going to, you know, be on older tyres. You expect them to clear him pretty soon. Wouter, I was a bit 50-50. I suppose he's sort of in the same vein. He hasn't seemed to have the pace that Jeroen has. Of course, nobody has. I can understand Rudy's thinking, but it could be his downfall. If Wouter and Nathan can clear Rudy quick enough, he's going to fall back into that group of cars that are on fresh softs and also have the 3 second time penalty. He could have pitted, got a P4, P5, maybe getting the softs. Fair enough. If he gets passed too quickly by the 3rd and 4th on the fresh softs with no pens, it could really see him put into the Tiger's den and just mauled alive by the fresh soft runners behind. Jeroen really has to make hay while the sun shines, however. Looking to go for another lap 23, so it will only be 2 laps of racing regardless. We did see Jeroen make up 2 positions on the restart, going from 3rd to 1st, I believe it was last time, or 4th to 2nd on a safety car restart. Could we see that again from Wouter, or maybe even Nathan?
Wouter and Nathan and the rest behind will get a much better exit out of the final corner. Being on the stickiest, most malleable tyre, the soft compound tyres, will take Rudy and Jeroen. They have to get a really good exit. Jeroen Visser, it all depends on him in the safety car restart. Where will he gun it at the safety car restart? He has to figure it out. He has to pinpoint it at the very right moment, because if he can't leave it to lead too early, because those guys behind will get a really good exit and be on the back of Rudy and Jeroen. Will he wait till halfway down the straight? Will he gun it then? We're not quite sure. So Jeroen Visser really has to think about it, because he could essentially win him the race or lose the race. But yeah, Wouter then, he knows this is his race to win. Like, he's sitting in P3. He knows the driver ahead has a penalty, but obviously you've got to overtake him to get the win, because Jeroen Visser doesn't have a penalty. So we'll definitely get a P2. But he really wants that P1 to try clawing some championship points that he essentially missed when he had a race ban as well back in Brazil. So yeah, he knows a race victory is now on the line, being on the better tyres.
Absolutely, this championship fight. Say Jeroen gets P1 and Wouter gets P2, that's 7 points. If Wouter gets P1 and Jeroen gets P2, that's another 7 points. It's a 14-point swing up for grabs here, which in the title fight, there's only 69 separating these two. That'll bring it down to 55, yet just slightly over that Grand Prix mode. That Grand Prix points available, sorry. But with the amount of races left to go, still a doable number. Safety car is going to be in this lap. We're going to ride on board with Jeroen, I think, just to see when he goes. So where we go, Rudy. We'll go with Rudy to get a nice little P2 perspective here. See when Jeroen goes. You can see them really warming up those tyres here, getting it prepped and ready, trying to get those mediums as best they can. 14 lap-old mediums for Rudy, 13 lap-old mediums for Jeroen, and fresh softs for all behind. I know it says maybe 1 lap, 3 laps for Tigriff there, but they're pretty much brand new.
Off he goes. Jeroen Visser pulls it immediately, caught out Wouter lacking a bit. So what's it called? I forgot the word now, too excited. But last 2 laps of this race, Rudy and Jeroen got a perfect restart, what he would have wanted, but now Wouter's got more speed into these corners in turn 1 and turn 2, but obviously there's no way to get past. He's caught napping. He got caught napping on the safety car restart, did Wouter. But yeah, Jeroen and Rudy then pulling ahead, but Wouter be all over the back of him. Wouter's got 2 laps to try and overtake him as quickly as he can. You can see him carrying more speed due to the soft compound tyres, and should get a better exit out of here. No DRS assisted whatsoever. And Jeroen Visser are also going to be careful not to pick up a penalty as well. Neither has Wouter and Nathan as they make their way down into turn 13. They can Wouter get a much better exit and try and slipstream him all the way down to the last few corners. Into this next corner we go, which you can see him get a really good exit out of here. Brakes later, carries more speed. Will he be over the back of him? Should be, but they're all using the ERS. It's going to be so tight as Wouter there. Will he try and go for it early stage? No, I think he'll try and wait for it on the final corner. Will he go now? He can't do. This is going to be so interesting. Nathan as well following AJ P5 right behind his brother. AJ had to pit onto a brand new set of mediums after going on the hard compound tyres, which he didn't want to be. Then he's gone to a brand new set of softs in P5s. Right behind his brother is Nathan. Nathan needs to be following Wouter if he wants to do anything. But down the inside goes Wouter. Has to make that lunge. And he's going to get a much better exit now. This is his chance to win the Grand Prix. They both run out of the ERS due to their allowance of 1 lap. Now they're going to have that battery store. And look at Nathan getting past Rudy. He's on the podium. AJ's going to follow soon. And Walter then. This is all his... where can he win this race? He could win this race down at the last few corners. Or... Can't go for it here. I think it's a bit too risky, but he's going to go for it anyway. Down at turn 4. Here he goes. Then they go side by side. Coming out of turn 4. Heading to turn 5. And now turn 6. Walter takes the lead into turn 6. I did not expect that. I thought he'd be waiting it down at turn 13 or turn 17 or wherever. But he actually takes the lead of the race as AJ Wuhan picks up his second penalty. Chivu, I feel bad for him because he led the majority of the race and now he's into P2. I feel... When it comes to a safety car restart like that, you don't know what to do in the second of a safety car restart because you don't know if other people are going to follow in the pit lane with you. And yeah, losing the lead on the last lap. Yeah, I know how that feels because it happened to me before because I decided to stay out on the race on the last lap and it didn't quite play up because people overtook me on the last lap. And while Nathan try and get P2, AJ is right behind. They need to start using their ERS. Can Nathan sag away P2?
It's a big battle going on for P7 at the P8 at the same time. Sorry, 4 cars all battling in about, dodging in about. But we'll go back to the front here. Nathan and AJ line up. Nathan, I kind of thought he might have got a better run and get a chance at your run into the final corner, but it doesn't look like he's going to be.
Whilst then, we'll come across the line to win in Jeddah ahead of Javoon. Nathan will finish in P3. Rudy will take P4. Liam in P5, Mark in P6, Seb in P7, AJ P8, Steiny in the top 10 in 9th place, Ferg in P10, to Griffin P11, Robbie P12, and the rest follow. But you got to feel there for Javuva, that is a massive shame. Leading majority of the race, and yeah, he was in control, and you got to really feel sorry for him. But you could arguably say he could have pitted, should have pitted, but in the moment you don't really know because sometimes it's best to stay out, sometimes it's not. And as you can see there, drivers who pitted won the race, and that's how it went sadly for him. But respect for Javoon was also because he didn't get under pressure from Nathan or AJ. It was actually AJ got put pressure on his brother rather than Nathan putting pressure on Javoon. But what a race, and Nathan will be happy to pick up a podium, hopefully officially for Aston Martin, because they've got their podium taken away 3 times this season, and hopefully this is a legit one. But congratulations to Walter winning the race. Javoon will be absolutely fuming. He knows he's done a lot of hard work. Just get taken away like that seems like a Verstappen and Hamilton thing, but obviously not quite like that. But Rudy in P4 as well, started from pole, finished in P4, and Liam in P5, started last to Liam, or P19 because of rotations penalty, finished in P5, Mark in P6, Seb in P7, AJ P8, Steiny P9, good result for Steiny for P16, Berg in P10, to Griffin P11, Robbie P12, Marty P13, Het Bob P14, Andreas P15 there, sadly for both RP drivers, Jaime P16, and the DNS behind become Leroy, Rotation, Pyro, Ps and Jaime.
Very, very interesting inaugural Grand Prix here on the streets of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. Drama right until the final lap with Valtteri overtaking Jeroen. More than I expected, a better race than I expected, I must admit. An absolute pleasure to commentate as well, I dare say so. But I think, if I've heard correctly, we do have one of our drivers in for a little chat. It is, of course, Mr. Head Admin himself, Mr. P3, finally getting a podium. Hopefully he will keep it this time. It is, of course, Nathan JB. Nathan, I know how much the podiums mean to you, mate. I believe, if I'm right in saying, the last one got stole away from you due to some incidents and stewarding decisions, respectively. I don't know the outcome of that so far, but on the face of things, you must be happy with that.
Oh, no words. I definitely didn't cut the pit entries, so don't have to worry about that. But oh my god, out of breath. Oh, unbelievable race. Unbelievable race.
Interesting. You definitely didn't cut the pit entry then. We'll look out for that then. Strategy-wise, so the final safety car, they are really putting a spanner in the works. I take it you were always going to go for the softs just with the gap to Jeroen. Are you a little bit surprised he didn't?
I actually didn't know he didn't pit until he was ahead of me in P2 on the final lap. So yeah, I honestly thought he was on softs and thought, oh okay, he would get an easy win for because he's on softs and Rudy was behind him on mediums. I had no idea he was on mediums, so yeah. Fair play to Valter for overtaking him and getting the dub.
Fair play indeed, caught you a little by surprise. Jamie, I'll hand you over. You've got the technical questions for Mr. JB himself.
Yeah, a lot of people behind you on penalties, but what was your penalty situation? How many warnings did you have before penalty?
I don't think I had any warnings the entire race. I might have had one in the final lap, but from what I know, I didn't get any warnings. So,
where did you think a chance of a podium was happening for you?
I knew like I had race pace over quali pace on this track, and when I qualified P9, I thought, well, I could still do something from here, and no penalties, and just use my pace. But then I think it was lap 6. I hit the back of Robbie when I was P4 or P5, and the guys ahead, they were just, apart from Yaron, who just was like 5 seconds clear, they were all like taking each other out and stuff. So I knew like from then I could have had a podium. So the wing damage really like annoyed me, and I thought, well, this is it. Like, I can't do anything. But that second stint, I think when I was on mediums, I was able to just cut through and do really well.
I know there's a lot of carnage behind and in front of you. Were you ever nervous getting caught in it? Because I know you were going about 3 or 4 wide at one stage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did get technically caught in it because I got wing damage, but that was my mistake completely. Like, he was at the final corner and I lifted before the braking zone to not hit him, and I still managed to hit him. So yeah, that was just really stupid, and I thought, oh, I bottled it again. But yeah, towards the end, I was literally just, towards the end, I knew I could get a podium if I just didn't get a penalty, because Rudy was behind me with a pen, and Valter was like 2 seconds clear of me. So yeah, it was just all about not getting a penalty. Then that safety car came out, and yeah, it was kind of a gift for me.
Aston Martin's hopefully first official podium got taken away from you and Robbie 3 times, but yeah, this podium really means a lot to you because I know you've been fighting it throughout the whole season. So congratulations for P3, mate. P2 was it?
P3.
Yeah, P3. Congratulations for P3, mate. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you, and congrats to Valter on the win and Yaron on P2.
Yeah, Jeroen Vizzer has joined the Discord party, but Walter hasn't. So I'm gonna put it on Jeroen. Jeroen Vizzer, you should be happy. You've done a fantastic job. I know you're not gonna be happy because, like most people, getting the win taken away on the final lap, yeah, it really breaks your heart. But you did a fantastic job. The race pace was there for you, and yeah, you should be happy. But I know you're not gonna be. But talk us through your race.
Yeah, nothing much with the race. I did what I had to do. Break the DRS and just drive away. Did it 2 times. The first time the safety car fucked me over, and now, yeah, when you're in the lead, like I had a big lead, so whatever I did, the others were gonna do the opposite most likely. So Wout was also saying afterwards, like if I pitted, he would have stayed out. Other way around, and the people behind will just also follow him a bit. So yeah, there's nothing much I can do. Tried pushing a bit on the last 2 laps, but not very well.
Yeah, I think I did mention that if you pitted, others would have stayed out. If you stayed out, others would have pitted. So yeah, you're kind of stuck in a really awkward position being in P1, and obviously towards the end of the race where soft runners will have a massive chance on you. But were you ever nervous about other soft runners coming at you as well, overtaking you towards the end?
What do you mean in the second stint or the sixth?
After the second safety car, you ever noticed about the other soft runners?
No,
because you had Nathan behind you.
Yeah, but I had battery, so yeah, I didn't expect Bouter to make a move there. It was tight with the walls, but fair enough. He had the soft advantage, so he did that very well.
Where were you?
Nothing I can do.
Where were you anticipating the attack from Walter?
Yeah, of course. I knew he had to. If he was in front of me, he wins it. So the next opportunity he got, he would probably go for it. So
yeah, but it's a massive shame, Jeroen. You should have won that race, but obviously the safety car. Yeah, what's your thoughts on this track? It looks like you just dominated around this track. Do you really like this track?
It's a nice track.
Yeah, I know you're not gonna be happy, but congratulations on P2, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
Congratulations indeed, Jeroen. One quick final question for you from me, I suppose. Well, 2. We'll go with 2. Championship lead effectively extended, of course, losing out 14 points. The swing effectively only 7 points when you tally it up to Valter. Big point on P's though. Going into the final part of the season, of course, round 9 here today. We've got a break week next week, and then 6 Grand Prix still to go. Title championship still in your hands. Austria, Abu Dhabi, Italy, Azerbaijan, Belgium, and Bahrain. You'll be looking to keep that going. How confident are you that you can, though?
Sorry, I was still moved. Mute, sorry. No, yeah, I feel good about the championship, but I really wish I would have won this race for the momentum to the break week and after. Yeah, it just sucks a bit, but I'll try my best to clutch it in the last couple of rounds. I have a good lead, so yeah, I won't bottle it.
I definitely don't expect this to be the last time we'll be speaking to you. Final question, of course. Break week next week. Are you doing anything fun?
Watching F1.
Probably Farming Simulator.
There you go, just
Great
to
game.
prove it's not all about the sweat here in CRL, it's all about the fun. Our resident farmer and current Tier 1 championship leader, Valter, I don't think he's joined us. He hasn't done so in the past, just due to some technical issues. But congratulations tonight on P2, Jeroen. For me, as much as the P2 are driver of the day, Nathan very close, a solid performance, getting a first podium of the season, but Jeroen just dominating it and getting very unlucky. So congratulations tonight. But I think we're about ready to round things off here. Jamie, thank you once again for joining me in the comms booth. It's an absolute pleasure and an honour to have the voice such as your own in beside me. I'm looking forward to commentating with you for the next 6 races as we wrap up this season 6.
Yeah, me too, mate. Should be a really good, fascinating next few races, like you said. Also here in Saudi Arabia, so hopefully we'll have more good races. And yeah, can't wait to see what happens. And firstly, we've got the Bahrain Grand Prix, which is this weekend. And first and second practice sessions are tomorrow. Can't watch them, of course, because I'm at college. But yeah, we can really determine what the cars are really like in the actual season in Bahrain. I can't wait to see what happens this weekend. Might have a surprise, you never know. Like back in 2009 when Braun had it, we would see another Braun type of thing back in 2009. But yeah, can't wait to see what happens. I'm really, really excited for the new season in 2022.
Absolutely the same here, mate. It'll really start to hype us up for the 22 game where we can get season 7 underway. But before that, we've got 6 more rounds here in Tier 1. Of course, next week, we won't be on air next Thursday. Neither will Jonathan or Hedgehog for Tier 2. But if you're still wanting some racing fix, join back in on Monday night. Tier 3 and Tier 4 taken to this amazing Jeddah City Street Circuit. Combining once again, Jamie, my speciality. 8:30 PM, Tier 4 take to the track with your host, I believe, either Mark or Hedgehog 11. And then Tier 3 taken to the track at 7:30, and I believe it will be our very own Tier 1 Boompier taking charge of comms for that. A few weeks' time, though, me and Jamie will be back as the Tier 1 drivers take part to Part 2 of Season 6 for Round 10 at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Make sure you tune in for that for even more drama, even more excitement, and everything we love about League Racing and CRL. I have been your host, CRL Freefall, joined by the lovely Jamie Morris, Jamie Indigo, aka Jamie, the man of many names. I think that's a good apt for you, mate. But we're going to call it here for a night. Thank you all for joining us. Have a very good evening, and we will see you in a few weeks' time.